We're picking up from where we left off last week. I'm going to do all the final grinds on the 3 knives. If you haven't seen last week's video, go check that one out first. I'll put a card up in the corner. I'm starting off first with the Hidden Tang 80 CRV knife. I had no problems with this one and it went really well. Now I'm moving on to the stainless san-mai, and this is where things start to go south. I don't notice it quite yet, but this one's not going to work out. Here I'm on a 120 grit belt. I'm hitting the flats first, and then I go back and do the bevel. So here's my first problem with the stainless san-mai. I burnt the edge. So I had to make the blade a little thinner, which actually turned out fine. I kind of liked the shape after I fixed it, but keep watching. So now I'm looking at what I'm going to do for handle wood for this stainless san-mai. So I've got a piece of Aboyna burl from Fleming Wood Supply here. I'll put a link down in the bottom to get wood from Jared, but this one is spectacular. I just love this one. Only issue with this one is it does have some voids in it. You can see here it's got some just some holes and stuff, which probably won't matter. I do notice some of them go right through the other side. So I'm gonna have to fix that before I do much with this. So I was recently contacted by Starbond, and they are makers of CA Glue, which is cyanoacrylate. I'm gonna get that wrong. Cyanoacrylate. CA glue, crazy glue kind of thing. So they sent me a bunch of this to try out. I didn't promise them I would, I said I would do an honest review of it. So this is my first use of it. And it comes in a bunch of different kinds here. This is the black. So it dries jet black. And it's got there's a bunch of different consistencies in the ones they sent me. There's a thin, a medium, and a thick, all in clear, and then this black one. I also got a brown one. And I got this accelerator. So this is specifically well suited to be filling gaps. So I'm gonna try this and fill all these gaps with this glue and see how that turns out. I will be doing another video, a full video on this stuff. I'll probably do a CA glue handle just to try this out. There'll be links down below if you guys want to get some of this, and I'll let you know how it turns out pretty soon. Wow, that works really well with the accelerator. It dried like completely. I've played with CA glue before, and it never dried like that. It took hours. That's really cool. Well, folks, I have a problem. I was really loving this knife. This is the san-mai, the stainless san-mai. You can see this is after final grinding. The san-mai came out just beautiful, exactly where I want it. It's a really beautiful grind. I was really happy with it. And then I was just cleaning up the spine right here. Bam! Look at that. There is a crack right there that I didn't notice the entire time that I was doing the final grind. I don't even know when this happened. So, it's a shame. I'm going to try and grind down the top of this just to see how far that goes in case I can save it. I'm thinking I can't, but let's find out just in case. Bummer. Well, folks, this is what's left after taking the crack out of the top. It's kind of goofy looking. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it because it looks so weird. But, I mean, it's still functional. The crack is definitely gone. But, yeah, it's kind of a funny looking knife. The stainless san-mai is going to look so cool on this. I might just finish it, give it to my son, whatever. I did want to show you, even though I'm not going to end up using this because I really like these, I'm going to save these for another knife, but I wanted to show you guys the Starbond. Actually did an excellent job. I'm really pleased with it. It filled in all of the gaps completely. It's sanded down really nicely. Yeah, it looks really good. So pretty pleased with that product so far, but I'll give it a full review in a future video. You can see here it sealed all these up. And these went this one went right through the other side, so it looks really good. Time to get back to one of the knives that will work out. Here I'm hand sanding the 80 CRV knife. Next on the agenda for this knife is a guard. What I'm doing here is using an edge finder to find the edge of each side of this part so that I can dial in my DRO and find the center. And that's how I'm going to do the slot. I start by using a drill, drilling a hole so that then I can use an end mill to do the slot. The bottom of an end mill is flat, so you can't plunge with it, so you have to use a drill first. So now what I'm going to do is put these, I don't know what you would call them, little scallops in each of the edge, about halfway down. So I made this little jig so that I could do that. You can see I've put a little mark here as to where the center of that scallop is going to go, and I put a little mark here so that I can measure it up precisely. And then I've got a line here to know how far I need to go. There is our finished part. I went a little further. I wasn't liking where it was, but I think it looks pretty good. I've decided I'm going to Cerakote this blade, just like I did with the kukri. So I didn't have to hand sand it very far. I only went down to 220. So now I just have to put my maker's mark in it and off to the Cerakote. So I'm ready to do this handle. What I'm going to do is mill out a slot, and this is going to slide up into it. The issue I have is that this slot, this thing is about almost exactly 3/16. I don't have a 3/16 end mill. Even if I did, I don't think I would be able to get one long enough to plunge that far. So what I just went and bought are some of these zip bits. They're two fluted, kind of like an end mill. So we're going to try these and see if I can do this. These are only 1/8 inch, so I'm probably going to have to do a couple passes, but we'll see. This is ironwood, so it's going to be pretty tough. I'm going to do a couple little test passes here to see how well this cuts. Let's give it a shot.
The test pass worked okay, but it was only about a 1/4 inch. Once I started doing the whole length of this piece of ironwood, I was seeing that bit really flex. So I was really worried about this.
Well, it just occurred to me, folks, that I'm a dummy. I have a table saw with a depth. I could just do this on the table saw. Much easier. So I've got the depth set. I'm just going to run it through on the table saw. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. So here's the handle with the pinholes, slot. It fits nicely. I'm about to etch this, so I'm not going to put it on and show you, but you'll see it soon enough. This is the actual ironwood. What I didn't account for was I was kind of a dummy and did not square this up completely, so you can see it's a little wider here than it is here because these two levels were not these two sides were not parallel. So when I ran it through the table saw, it was a little off kilter here, so I'm not going to use that. I'll end up just using this one as scales. So I squared up a piece of Coca-Cola and we're going to use that. So time to etch this baby in ferric chloride. It's been sanded to 1000. My maker's mark has been put on it. You can see there, and it's time to go in.
Here I'm putting that 45-degree bevel on the front of the handle, the part that's going to go against the knife, because I won't be able to sand that later.
All right, ready to do the glue up.
Sorry folks, my battery died and I didn't notice, and by the time I noticed I was halfway in the middle of doing this epoxy, so there was no stopping. This is after glue up, and now I'm just squaring up the handle material, grinding down the pins. These are copper, so you got to be careful not to get these too hot. I've said it in previous videos, but I really have a method here. Square up your handle material, then do the profile of your handle, okay, and then start to change the angles. If you start putting angles in before you square it up, then you can't put any markings on it because it won't be square. Although it was a bit of a pain in the butt to fit this handle, I really like how it turned out. Having the solid wood on the top, but then when you flip it over, you see the tang on the bottom. I thought that was a cool effect. Once I got the profile of the handle all squared up for the cu-mai, I wanted to move on to the 80 CRV hidden tang knife, just so I could get them both to the same point and then contour the handles at the same time.
Okay, got the handles somewhat shaped on this one. I've decided to put a really thin piece of G10 here, and I've already put the guard on here. So on we go. Time for the glue up, and I've decided to put a mosaic pin in it, which I've already drilled. And just in case we get some leakage, I'm going to put some of this Battleship Gray into the epoxy. So here it is after glue up. I was lying in bed last night and realized I had totally screwed something up. I knew I hadn't ground this part because I was going to do this on the small wheel, but what I forgot was I forgot to grind the top part here. This is going to be a problem. I'll just have to make the best of it and try to, because this is going to sweep down a little bit and then this is going to come up. So, I'm not happy about that. That was stupid. I should have ground that before. So we'll see how it goes.
Just like the cu-mai, I'm squaring up the handle material, grinding down the pins, and just reducing its size, but keeping it square. By the way, guys, it's been a few days since I got the new camera. At this point, after watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to run this camera, I think I finally have it figured out. By the way, this is a Sony a6400, in case you're interested. The wood I'm using here is a maple burl dyed blue. I've used this in other builds. It's one of my favorite pieces, also from Fleming Wood Supply. But man, this stuff sure makes a mess and it sure stinks when you grind it.
So I've got all of the flats done here. They're all leveled out. They taper to where the guard is, or the front portion, which is usually how I do things. I square it up, then take these bevels, take this down. So I've done this on both. This one's going to be a little wider, just a little chunkier in the hand. So I'm ready to start to contour them. But I wanted to show you guys this. So inevitably, if you're going to use burls, you're going to encounter this kind of thing where there's voids in it. And sometimes no amount of stabilization is going to get this. It's just in the interior of the wood, so you need to be prepared for this. Great thing about this, I'm going to use that Starbond and try that. That should fill these voids with a nice black. It should look really good. So we're going to go back and use that. And it's got a nice little kind of thin-tipped applicator. So we're going to try that out. And see, check these out. Tiny little tip on it. So that should be really cool. And that just fits over this. All right, let's give it a shot. I've filled these gaps, and the key here is you just keep filling until it kind of pulls up on the top. For this one, the cool thing was that tip. This tip actually went in like a 1/4 inch, so this hole was actually pretty deep, and I could push that all the way down and fill it from the bottom up. So it should be pretty solid now. And then I sprayed it with this accelerator. And I'm really happy with this product. So links down in the description, guys, and check it out. Get yourself some of this. It's great for filling this kind of thing. There it is, ground after the Starbond glue was added to it. And once it's fully ground, you won't even see that. So it looks really good. I put my markers on it just to know how far I'm grinding to. And let's put the contour in. This one as well.
By the way, guys, I didn't manage to grind the guard for this, the top of the guard. It was a bit off camera, so I didn't include the footage. Just it was hard for you to see what I was doing. This build gave me a lot of challenges. Unfortunately, one knife didn't turn out, but I'm thrilled with the other two. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.